Part 29. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 286. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. The system of magic and arcane seems to be difficult to distinguish from an individual point of view. Just like the flow of heart and resources in Xiaoxian's novels. For those big people who are amazing and fascinating, no matter which way they go, they can reach the peak, achieve the legendary sanctuary, and even spy on the gods. However, for the vast majority of people, the flow of heart is that you can't do it, you can't do it. Climbing along the magical path, countless roads are waiting for you, and there is a limit on the talent of the person, and will eventually be stuck at a certain step, and can no longer be saved. This is the limit as a single individual. Many people are stuck in meditation, and many people are stuck in the impossible to be promoted to the real magician. And the heart flow has a great feature, that is, the genius of stunning is the darling of the times, the flash of the moment, cannot be copied, cannot be reproduced, unique. Even if they have disciples, it is absolutely impossible to catch up with the teacher because of the lack of talent. However, the arcane division system to be established by Ziwei can be analogized to resource flow or knowledge flow. It will deeply explore the reasons behind each so-called relationship, and find out the solution to the problem through countless practice and contrast experiments. Through the research and analysis of the heavens and the earth, the cosmological constants, etc., the original open-ended epiphany is recorded step by step, and becomes a knowledge that can be learned and learned. Insufficient talents, resources to make up, knowledge to make up, the original Tianzu into a thoroughfare. For most people who are not talented enough, as long as they climb on this road, they will be able to break through the limits of the original and achieve higher achievements. From the perspective of society as a whole, arcane is far superior to magic. It is very difficult for a magician to change the whole era. Even if he achieves legends, sacred fields, and even gods, most of the underlying people still graze in the soil, and live a numb life without seeing any bright future. However, the arcane is not the same. The arcane is the first productivity, and will inevitably bring about changes in the whole world. When the entire population of the Orient continent is under the full promotion of Ziwei, 1 in 10 people have been exposed to magic, become a magic apprentice, can read, can work in a magic factory, then this flood will be vast, nothing can be violated, no way to stop. This is not the power of a person, but the great power of an era, the evolution of civilization, and the inevitable choice. Ziwei has a full understanding of himself. He is a person with a good atmosphere, and the intelligent core zero assists himself. Ms. Yanlu is looking at herself, but she can guarantee her achievements as a legendary magician and create a new one. New spell school. Even if you really make a legendary magician, it is only the 8th law or the 10th law after it, what can you do? However, the road of arcane truth has been chosen, and the arcane has been thoroughly promoted, so Ziwei can foresee that it will be able to reach the top. The worst speaker of the Arcanist Joint Conference, who is also the worst of the Arcane Empire, is the Archaeological Empire or the Emperor. The upper limit is able to ignite the fire with the numerous beliefs generated by the promotion of the arcane process and become the of magic. This is the greatest benefit of turning the power of the times into its own use. Crossing has come to an era where individuals can also control the power of heaven and earth. Who does not want to jump out of the cycle, control their own destiny, become an immortal? Ziwei, who had no rebellion and no help but died in the supernova explosion, has already made up his mind, and must be in the top of the world in the world of Orient. This is the ambition of Ziwei. This is the key reason why he resolutely wants to promote the arrival of an arcane age. On this road, who dares to stop the torrent of the arcane era, is equivalent to blocking him into enlightenment, is the enemy of the road. Unite all the forces that can be united and destroy all obstacles that are against me. Violet Island is the first base that it opened in this world, and the promotion of the three magical popular reading materials has ignited the fire of the stars in the whole world of Orient, and he must be able to pour the day. It is precisely because of this that 11 Wei has suppressed the dark side of his heart and brought out his most shining and most representative side, because only those who have great wisdom and perseverance and can make people feel convinced and willing to follow can become the leader of the era, the pioneer of the arcane era. For magic, Zai Wei has his own way. 1,000 spells, all changes, I learned by myself. The 9-story platform is hard and hard. I climbed. The law is in one heart, the law is refined, and the so-called universal law is one. This is the understanding of Zai Wei's heart for the future of personal magic, and this will be the most suitable path for yourself. Whether it's the mysterious elemental spell, or the Grodic space spell, or the Silver Moon's Ilana blessing spells, even changing spells, protecting spells, summoning spells, constructing spells, even taboo minds and necrons spells, as long as there are spells in this world, I can learn. All spells are external manifestations of heaven and earth, and can be condensed into domain rules, and the highest is the real avenue. His true control of the law, the heavens and the earth are invisible, this is the common law of the law, is the supreme truth. To figure this out, the spirit of Zai Wei has reached the extreme, as if in a moment it has been detached from the faint deception and suppression between the heavens and the earth, and the soul level has once again jumped and climbed to a higher level. Regarding how to get the master's certificate, Zai Wei is no longer confused. Even if the road ahead is rugged and rough, even if it is a hindrance, I will walk in a leisurely way and open up a new road out of nothing in this thorn. The promotion of the magician is accompanied by a balance. The stronger the magic, the stronger the damage from the magical elements to the body. However, the higher the soul level, the soul reflects the body and can feed back on itself. Zai Wei also realized this at this moment. Although he had zero meticulous care, he was only in a weak balance because of the 5 elements of the lake. It is not much stronger than ordinary people. Ms. Yin Yu's eternal blessings have brought his physical fitness to the level of nearly high-level professionals. This time, the soul jump finally makes his soul level surpass the erosion of the vast magic for the first time, and the body has been greatly nourished, it is like eating ginseng fruit. At this moment, Zai Wei finally subverted a traditional concept. Every magician who seemed to hang down and even had to walk on the path of the lich was unable to surpass the magic growth of the soul level and embarked on the failure to continue the development path. I am afraid that the first law of Tolafit, the second law Grodic, the seventh law Dixila, these faces will not be too old. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Du. Chapter 287. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. The focus of each different spell school is different. The element school is the most focused lake. Gain has only enough magic to maximize the magical elements between heaven and earth. The space school pays attention to the three-dimensional and spatial modeling and design ability in the soul. The 36 emptiness inscriptions will eventually be completely built into the soul, forming the space of through the universal world. The spelling model of the most central spell of the school. 9 days later, the 12th first-order void inscription was finally realized by Zai Wei, and 12 first-order void inscriptions were born one by one in the soullessness of Zai Wei. The soul of Zai Wei is far from the ordinary people who have just escaped from the supernova explosion. After repeated and successive levels of leaping, especially after the impurities in the endless meditation process to achieve the dream star, the current soul list as far as the level is concerned, it has reached the level that you can cast real 7-ring master spells at no extra cost. However, because there is no special exercise inside the soul, it seems to be somewhat empty, and Zai Wei has very little self-management expertise. The internal training and promotion of the soul belong to each school. The core secrets of each master's inheritance will not be arbitrarily circulated outside. Therefore, the accumulation of this aspect before Zai Wei is completely blank. and the 12 first-order void inscriptions can be completed, and the first layer of architecture that illuminates the inner world of the soul can be completed. According to the book's instructions, Zai is single in the secret room, maintaining the quietest state. The soul is quiet, and begins to use the 12 first-order void inscriptions inside the empty and wide soul to construct the spell. This spell is a fifth-order spell, the foundation of the void, the original version of the space survey and the smashing of the universal world. Although it is only a fifth-order spell, it consists of a total of 12 first-order void inscriptions. To know that only 3 first-order void inscriptions have been used in the astral shuttle, it is already a very difficult spell in the 6-ring spell. The foundation of the void has laid the foundation for the inheritance of the second law Grodic, and it is not an overestimation of the importance of this spell. At this time, not only Zai, but also trying to control the structure of this spell. She and 11 Wei belong to the symbiotic relationship of the soul double helix. No matter who masters a spell, then another person can master. Is this spell difficult? It is very difficult, far more difficult than any of the spells that Sci-fi has learned before. The structure of the 12 first-order void inscriptions needs to be perfectly and skillfully built together. Instead of not disturbing each other, they can help each other and eventually form a stable and peculiar spatial structure. This is the base of the void spell model. This spell has no real combat effect, but as long as it can complete the construction of the foundation of the void, it means that it has truly entered the door of Grodic's heritage. In the process of construction, Zai constantly enhanced the understanding of the 12 empty inscriptions. Every empty inscription is the crystallization of Grodic's wisdom. Without sufficient understanding and mastery, it is impossible to build in the soul the foundation of the void. However, this spell is not so difficult for Zai. You must know that in the once world, humans did not master the magic, but they were able to let the star warships jump in space. If Grodic's space spells are the most delicate and ingenious way to cross space, one's human space jump is the simplest and most difficult road to break through. For space, Zai has his own understanding, the knowledge and reason from 2 different universes come together, and now the shape of the soul of Zai has become a huge brainstorm. In the end, the knowledge that belongs to Grodic's heritage and the knowledge of the original universe are clearly separated. There are so many differences between the 2 kinds of knowledge, and they are not simply integrated. However, in this process, Zai was able to jump out of Grodic's knowledge limit, and truly observe the 12 empty inscriptions of Grodic from a higher and farther perspective. It is better to have a book than a letter. Although Grodic is a famous second law, the world's space magic ability is the first, but Zai will not give up their own thinking and practice, blindly follow and learn. This is the attitude that an arcanist should have for knowledge. In the end, after a dialectic, it can be said that each of the 12 first-order emptiness inscriptions, the meaning of each spell node, is understood by Zai, and the philosophy unique to Grodic is also understood by Zai. 12 first-order emptiness inscriptions became the most ingenious elves in this moment, and they entangled together to form a very stable and beautiful empty base. From a distance, it is like a constellation in the vast sky, shining beautifully. Everyone has a subtle difference in the empty inscriptions, and when the 12 empty inscriptions build the base of the void in the soul, there will be ever-changing. Although these Grodic's inheritors have completed the construction of the foundation of the void, Zai can be sure that he perfectly understands the essence of Grodic's inheritance and perfectly reproduces Grodic's emptiness. The basis of the foundation of the void is completed. A set of meditation gates is created from it. This set of meditation gates is named Void View Ideas and is the best idea for the magician who majors in the space spell school. Zai has 5 elements of the lake, which is also the foundation of his elemental magic practice. Naturally, it can't be easily changed, but this door is very suitable for one person. 5th Apostle, Esmeralda. She is a blind witch body all the time to infect the magic from other planes, then the inheritance of Grodic is undoubtedly very important for Esmeralda. Carefully searched for the empty view, although it contains some space inscriptions to construct meditation, but this part can also be solved by rote memorization, and even Western spell list can also simulate this door. 12 first-order emptiness inscriptions have a meditation idea. When you want to construct a space surveying technique and breaking through the universal world in the soul, you will surely get a higher level of meditation. This is the space spell inheritance of the second law Voidwalker Grodic, which can train the legendary caster who can play the legendary 9-ring spell. Even if it is placed on the whole of the Orient continent or even the multifaceted plane, it is the most powerful force inheritance. Octopus Paul, I really owe you a big love. 11 Way added this empty view idea to the Western Ways spell list, and then ended today's secret room practice. To be continued, mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 288. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. Esmeralda had just walked out of the school building with her younger brother, Jude, and was going to the restaurant to solve the lunch. Sister, this 4 calculations is very difficult. Jude left a hand with a stack of books, his right hand licking his own temple. Daily count this hundreds of thousands, dozens of hundreds, tired will be exhausted. I really don't know what it is to learn this stuff. I don't plan to be a businessman. And the pool is in the water, it's not a waste. It's all broken. No mathematics. How do you build a spell model in the future? Esmeralda said to her younger brother, we are only learning the first volume of mathematics textbooks, and there are 6 full volumes. All must be assessed, all 4 credits, add up to 28 credits. I don't accept it. I am not a genius girl like my sister. The mathematics is so difficult. I only need to add and subtract within 100, and I can buy things without being pitted. Jude helplessly, and my sister is improving so fast, it has grown to 3-point standard magic. What we are mastering now is only the basic meditation door. On top of this, there is a simplified version and a full version of the elements that correspond to the 4 basic elements. Think about how to get credits and exchange for more advanced ideas. Dear brother, I don't want to be promoted to become a magician one day. You are still in the junior apprenticeship class. The restored Esmeralda looks like a beautiful girl full of youthful vitality. She is quiet and gentle in front of her classmates and teachers. Only in front of her younger brother will she be very poisonous. I have been attacked with no confidence, I have to doubt life. Jude poured a bitter water. I still don't know why Zyway tutor has taken a fancy to me. Don't say that. Compared with your sister, there are still classes. There are several other animals. What kind of earth element is the perfect score? The water element is full and the spirit is too long. I am not at all conspicuous. If you are not my sister, I will give me a private tutor. I am afraid I will fall to the last few. Only a few days after entering the school, the new apprentices quickly separated. The genius girl Esmeralda undoubtedly showed a very high magical talent and intelligence. Whether it is a magic-related course or a course in mathematics, lingua franca, logical thinking, etc., she is firmly in the first place. The throne has become a well-deserved schoolmaster. The Westway tutor can value you, and he must have his reason. Esmeralda patted the younger brother's shoulder. Don't forget the story of the stupid bird flying first in the lingua franca story we learned today. If the foundation is weak, then you must study hard and don't fall behind. Hey, this is the magical genius that the young master is not a world. He is promoted to the magician in minutes, and the master of magic in 3 or 5 years. The Westway mentor is in the midst of the great talent of this young master, and this is the rush to receive the young master. The result, the dream is broken. Jude sighed with a dejected head. It's the mouth of the mouth. Esmeralda showed a smile and smiled like a flower. The charm of the moment shocked Jude. You don't have to be distracted. I heard people say that you are in the day and in the class a pretty little girl is eyebrows. God, my sister, even you don't believe me. They are all false accusations, they are all embarrassing, Jude quickly explained. In addition to taking care of my sister, I don't mean anything to other people. Without waiting for the two sisters to walk into the restaurant, one of them smiled and walked forward. Damn, this Lista is coming again. For a few days, Lista's thoughts have long been guessed by Jude. He now targets his sister Esmeralda and has become an annoyance in Jude. People. Esmeralda, hello, Lista made a graceful look. Yes, there is Jude. Are you coming to eat? I don't know if I have the honor to have dinner with you. Jude looked at Lista's smiling face and couldn't wait to fly up to give him a foot, but he could only help but agree. The idea of the mind is very important, and it determines the speed at which each apprentice accumulates magic. Although the four elements have been tested at the time of enrollment, the elemental affinity does not necessarily match the most appropriate meditation door, so in the process, we must choose carefully. Once we choose the meditation door that is different from our own, we may go astray and even delay the future achievements. Lista, while eating a delicious dinner, introduced her husband and sister. Road. So how do you choose? Although Jude did not like Lista, he knew that the topic that Lista said was very important and had to ask. You have completed the foundation stone of the basic meditation idea? So you can use the mental power to sense the student nameplate on the chest, Lista explained. There is a violet emblem, which represents a magical function, that is, West Dimensional Spell List. I have heard other students say it. But the teacher has not said how to go in, Jude replied quickly. He heard other senior students talk about the magical effect of Western Ways spell list, but it has not been can enter it. That is worrying that you have not yet completed the foundation of the basic meditation idea. Too early attempts will affect the development of the brain and mental strength. But now it is okay. There are 4 elements in the test version of the idea door. You can try to experience it. From you can find the most suitable meditation door. Lista gently looked at Esmeralda, who had been silent for a while. My current thoughts are the full version of the Earth's thoughts, which can increase the magic limit of 2.4 times. And the speed of magic growth. Jude has not considered that he is still eating directly into the student brand, found a conspicuous violet emblem, began to search for the door of the idea of the door according to the list method. Esmeralda had already run out of dinner. In the eyes that Lista looked forward to, she also explored the spirit into the violet emblem, just entering it, and there was a golden glow shining in front of it. Void concept, space school inheritance, the most suitable for your meditation door, Mentor 11 Waliu. Esmeralda just put his hand up, the golden light dissipated, unlocked a new area in the virtual space. Esmeralda tried it. In this virtual area, he could follow the guidelines to simulate the empty view, and this meditation is undoubtedly much more advanced than the basic idea, even more than any of the 4 basic elements. The door to the thoughts must be too advanced. Because she unintentionally found the unlocking condition of this meditation door, Arcane Point 1000, the recognition of Zyway. 1000 arcane points are enough to exchange a 5-ring spell arcane point, no matter which apprentice cannot be obtained, and the recognition of Zyway is a very important screening condition. To be continued, mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 289. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. An imaginary door that can be learned at an apprenticeship, could not have used so many arcane points, but once this door is established, it means going to the path of the space magic school. The lowest level of space spells is also a 3-ring spell. If you want to master the foundation of the empty foundation, you must at least reach the level of the 5-ring high-level magician. Therefore, Zyway does not intend to open this door of thought too early, and for most people, it can only be blind and resentful. Lister reluctantly found that her intentions were completely lost. The opposite brothers and sisters were completely immersed in their own world and did not respond to him at all. This is undoubtedly a frustration, but the good news is that Esmeralda is not only showing a good sign with any other male relationship except to study with his brother all day, which means that he still has a chance. Ziwei, who came out of the Chamber of Secrets, met Natalia and Charlotte. Although they were still in the middle of the winter, they wore thin tight-fitting clothes, and they sweated a lot after intense exercise. The whole body was soaked. The vitality of life is reflected in the two people, and the perfect figure emerges in a looming manner, which has attracted the full attention of Ziwei. Hey, our master Ziwei has finally completed the magic study. Natalia looked at Ziwei coldly. This is my fault. I am sorry that I have been negligent to you these days, Ziwei quickly apologized. Do you know? There was a magician in my mother's suitor. He was very talented in magic. He became a high-level magician early, and the advanced master has no obstacles. He is very handsome. At least, my father is more charming, my family is very prominent, and even more noble than the Bonaparte family. My mother and he have known each other since childhood, playing together, and the relationship is very good. Natalia squints at Ziwei. Do you know why my mother finally chose my father from many pursuers? Because your father touched your mother's heart. Ziwei already had a bad feeling. Because the magicians are dead houses. My mother had a birthday for 4 months, and he came out of the master tower to give my mother a birthday present. Natalia saw the murder in the eyes. You will not end the dead house mage all the way. Ha ha ha, how is it possible? 11 Weahun sneer, and quickly gave the highest level of task to the 0, must help me remember all kinds of anniversaries. Remember to remind me at any time. Natalia took advantage of Charlotte's waste. After these days of hard work, Charlotte is now ready to master his own blood, that is, she will no longer move and change. This is a good thing to celebrate, but why are you sweating all over? Ziwei, you probably don't know, Charlotte, who awakened the blood of Barlow's blood, but a knight with excellent fighting talent, Natalia said with a flying dance. Barlow is not endless, the strongest fighting demon race in the abyss. Although she has just completed the awakening, she has already had the super death fighting talent circulating in the blood. In the future, she will completely activate her own blood. After hard training, the achievement may not be worse than me or Catalina. This is really an unexpected surprise. Ziwei knows that Charlotte is very qualified on the magic road. Even if there is a help from Ziwei, it is difficult to achieve magic masters. But if you can become a blood knight, it is definitely a very good road. What's more, choosing to become a blood knight does not mean completely giving up magic. In the future, Ziwei really has a day to go, and naturally it can help Charlotte to take another step. The next time Charlotte will be handed over to me, Natalia smirked. Ziwei, you can sleep alone. Charlotte was wrapped up in Natalia and walked up the 3rd floor of the castle. Ziwei smiled helplessly. It seems that this is Natalia's punishment for her recent neglect. Cut. I am not without anyone. Ziwei decisively chose to find Meryl. Xavier brother, are you here? Meryl is studying meditation in her own magic lab. Ziwei has informed Meryl of the complete 4-line element lake construction and meditation. Meryl is trying to complete the remodeling of the lake in this way and promote the 3rd ring intermediate magician. During this period of time, Meryl also accumulated a lot of questions. The two asked questions and answers in a small room. It was very tacit, as if they had returned to the tower in the tower 6 months ago. After completing the instructions for all doubts, 11 Wei discovered that it was already the 12th magic time in the middle of the night. It's very late, I have to leave. Go to rest early. Ziwei stood up and was ready to leave. Meryl slowly stood up, leaning her forward, with a pleading on her face, as if it were like the cutest little animal. Xavier brother, can you give me a hug? Ziwei was silent for a long time, and eventually she took the girl into her arms. He just held the girl in his arms tightly and didn't do any more. I don't know how long it took, the two finally separated, and Sci-fi left Meryl's magic lab using the transmission spell. Under the glory of the moon, Meryl smiled and was picturesque. In the last week of January, the sales peak of the book How the Sorcerer Made It has passed, and the people who really have money and like to watch the Cavaliers novels have already purchased the book, at their mouth. According to legend, How the Magician is Made has more and more influence. Not only the protagonist Far, the heroine Nicole, the female villain Jessica and the old grandfather Merlin, but even the authors who are usually not valued are also passed down by countless people. Xavi Flus, the name began to spread in the streets of the Kingdom of France. The hot sales situation naturally attracted the attention of countless merchants who made a living. In just 1 month, more than a dozen follow-up works have begun to appear. Some bargain-hunting booksellers also know that they can use a set of Sci-fi settings to compile a story. Some merchants simply change the name of a protagonist and change the location of the story. The plot and description are unchanged, and 99% of the works are directly pushed. Entered the market. These rushed time were rude, and all the books that were put into the market under the name of Magician XXX were also fired. Countless readers simply ignored these books and even missed the language. They only wanted to know more about mystery. The story of the magician. A large number of night novelists patted the thighs and sang, and quickly bought a book on how the magician was made. He began to study the storyline, character setting and writing techniques of Sleepless Nights, and strive to launch his own magician novels as soon as possible. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 290. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. Tree's recent mood was very bad because his father, Viscount Vincent, had just sent a letter. In the letter, he took a dog blood sprinkler, and he has not been promoted to the official knight for 3 years. To know that his letter to his father has always said that he has been very good recently, progress is also very fast, everything is very good. The father was obviously disappointed with himself. He didn't even mention his fiancée Jacqueline in the letter. Finally, he told himself not to waste time at the Knights College. He returned to the countryside in southwestern France as soon as possible. His father had begun to find new objects for him. Now, followed by the letter is a check for the 20 French gold coins, which is the last sum of money that the father declared to him. After reading this letter, Trees gave birth to infinite sorrow and anger. A sense of powerlessness shrouded him, and the whole man was soft on the bed, and the letter paper fell on the floor. He slowly closed his eyes, and 2 lines of tears fell from the corners of his eyes. When he first came to Wangdu Pai from the southern countryside, he came to the Legrand Knights College. He was also a good student who was diligent and motivated, and he was promoted to become a real knight, shining the family threshold. However, in the first test 3 months after enrollment, his progress ranked more than 400 among the 700 people of the entire grade. Trizer, it seems you can't. Trizer, don't waste time, the knight's way is not for you. Or go back to the country as soon as possible, and your son will become a real knight. Trizer, do you want to be a knight? Trees gritted his teeth and struggled with the ridicule of countless people for half a year, finally reaching the final test at the end of the semester. This time, his ranking changed by 200, and he came to more than 600. Trees finally accepted his life, and he has no talent in the Cavaliers. However, he did not want to wander back to the southern town, where he could make a fortune with the title of the Viscount heir, but he really left his hometown and came to the bustling Wangdu Pai, and opened his eyes to see the real world. How can you admit the fate of failure? However, the sense of powerlessness has always shrouded in him. In 2 years, he has made a large number of aristocratic children who are similar to his family and college rankings. They drink and have fun all day, ruining their lives. Although only 19 years old this year, Trees feels that he has not seen any light. In Wangdu Pai Li, all kinds of expenses are much higher than in the countryside. Although there are many 20 gold coins, they are only enough for 3 months. And you have to pay a sum of money as a toll, so you can stay in Pai Li, the time of the king of 2 million people, so that they can be dreamed of. Lying in bed for a half day, the afternoon sun shines on the window sill, letting the cold winter shine a hint of spring. The stomach screamed, and Trees got up and planned to go to the street to find something to eat. Holding a sweet donut, Trees usually does not eat this kind of copper coins, except for those that can fill the stomach and not eat well. At this moment, the corner of the eye suddenly swept to a signboard, which is the Bauhinia bookstore. Bauhinia bookstore. Trees suddenly remembered the book How the Sorcerer Made It. I have read it so many times, but I can't find it after a hangover. A mysterious force drove him and let him walk into the bookstore. The young clerk in the bookstore is still reading a book seriously. Ghosts made a difference, and Trees once again stepped forward to observe the spine of the book, Meditation and Heart Lake, by Sylvester Frost. It is also the author of Zyway Frost, How the Wizards Are Made. This is his new book. A joy from the depths of the heart jumped in, and at this moment Fraser forgot all the repression and sorrow, took a brisk walk in the tall bookshelf, and finally got a very eye-catching place just getting started. I found a book on the whole bookshelf, half of which is Meditation and Heart Lake, and the bottom half is How the Magician is Made. Unexpectedly, I only used one book, and the author of Sylvester Frost became a counter-writer. Fraser is an old reader. The number of counter-writers recognized by the 5 largest book chambers in France is only over 30. Each one has written several bestsellers, each of which can be listed on the bestseller. The old author of the list quickly took a look at the most promising place in the Bauhinia bookstore, the 1787 January bestseller list hanging in the most prominent place. In the first position, I found the familiar Zyway Frost and How the Magician Was Made. The striking big red paint wrote a horrible number, total sales in January, 84,459. With a single month of sales, there are actually more than 80,000 copies. To know the title of the best-selling book of the Kingdom of France in 1786, it also sold 190,000 copies. The second bestseller of this month, only 20,000 plus books. No wonder so soon became the counter-author. If nothing else, Sylvester Frost has booked this year's bestseller title without any suspense. Fraser had a feeling of joy in his heart, which was the author of his support and recognition. Meditation and Heart Lake, isn't this the magician's enlightenment stage to learn? But it doesn't seem like the title of a novel. Fraser had some doubts and picked up a new book from Zyway. This book is as refined as the book, far more than other books that are shoddy. On the cover is a beautiful dreamy blue castle, even 3 points more than the Fontainebleau Palace of Franz's royal family. This castle is naturally the Violet Fort, and Zyway has begun a subtle publicity. Open the catalogue and Trees slowly examines it. Chapter 1, What is Meditation? Chapter 2, What to do before meditation. Chapter 3, How to enter the state of meditation. Chapter 4, 7 ways to help you enter the state of meditation. Trees was shocked in his heart. Is this Zyway crazy? Did he actually teach the idea door in a book? Trees' trembling hands are quickly flipping through the pages of the book. Every page on the fine book paper teaches the mystery of meditation and Heart Lake, and it is also equipped with many precise and vivid color images. The language is even to the extreme. Even a person who has just started learning GM for half a year can understand it. It's crazy. This is the introductory mystery of the magician's noble career. To know that on the mainland of the Orient, the magician is the 3 most noble occupations shouldering the night and the glory of the pastor. To be continued. Mobile users, please browse and read, a better reading experience. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 291. Backslash, backslash backslash, backslash backslash. This kind of mystery may not be learned even if it has money. At least Trees knows that it is located at the intersection of 5th Avenue and 7th Avenue in France. The most prosperous area of the entire kingdom has a vast garden college, which is the French Royal Magic College. This college only recruits 200 apprentices each year. Countless great aristocrats, pros, and prominent officials throughout the kingdom are desperately trying to send their descendants to the college. Even if this book is only the most basic and simple way of thinking, it is also an opportunity for countless people to realize their dreams and change their destiny. Trees, who has not seen any light on the night's road, is holding the book tightly, like a brand new dream. Such a book of God, telling the book about the mystery of the magician's enlightenment, actually only sells 5 silver coins. Taking advantage of the 5 silver coins handed to the clerk, Fraser took the book and ran back to his room. The landlord's daughter was a very nice and well-behaved girl. She was about 14 and 5 years old. She quietly hid behind the door and watched Trees running back with a book. The eyes flashed the look of hope. Book. After pouring a glass of water, he finally calmed his heartbeat. Trees wasted straight at the desk and rummaged through the stylus and notebook that he had just used when he first entered school. Both hands rubbed hard under the clothes, until the oil of the fingers was wiped clean, and Trees opened the title page of the book in a sacred and solemn atmosphere. The title page has a more order, which is written by Sylvester Frost. Sequence. Humanity is moving towards an era of unprecedented glory. In just 100 years, the population of the mainland has doubled to more than 300 million. The human footsteps are no longer confined to the small Orient continent. They have begun to conquer the wild new continent across the endless sea, and have begun to explore the multidimensional plane through the space barrier. For everyone, we can also appreciate the impact of the changes of the times on life. More and more people are beginning to read, and commercial trade is becoming more and more developed. This is the era of our new era, a new era of glory. There is a hero in our world. They may be warriors who can kill dragons, perhaps knights who can break the army alone, perhaps priests who can heal the wounds, maybe magicians who can use magic. For ordinary people, these professionals are high, they and we live in a world, but have a very different life track. Perhaps there was envy, perhaps there was a dream of being a strong professional. How many people were young, but this dream eventually shattered with growth. Because being a professional has a very high threshold, most of us can't climb the threshold of the past. The magic system, because of the unique promotion system and the hidden enlightenment method, isolates most people from the door. The path of the magician is full of hardships, but becoming a magic apprentice is not as difficult as we think. For every 10 readers of this book, perhaps one can build a heart lake through meditation, master a zero-ring spell, and become a true magic apprentice. For the cultivation and education of the magic apprentice stage, I have done a lot of educational research work, summed up the 7 basic meditation ideas corresponding to 7 people with different traits, to help readers complete meditation and build a heart lake. This is not a simple hypothesis. I am a high-ranking magician who has entered the paradigm. He has his own magic school in the Golden Sea. All the knowledge in this book is practiced and there is no hidden danger. Basic method. Next month, the 3rd and final book of the Magic Universal Reading Series, Teach You to Become a Magic Apprentice in a Month, will meet with readers at major bookstores. I hope you will like it. The readers, if you don't want to live a day-to-day life, want to change your own destiny, take a broader road, and embrace a brighter future, then please take advantage of this rare opportunity. Finally, I hope that the flower of magic will spread through this land, and the light of magic shines through the sky. Sylvester Frost. January 1797. After reading this preface, Trees can't control the trembling all over the body. This is the chance to change my destiny. This Sylvester Frost is not an ordinary person, but a high-level magician, the dean of a magic school. Otherwise, he couldn't write such a vivid book. How is the magician made? If there is some hesitation in the beginning of Trees' heart, then there is no doubt at this moment. Trees' verbatim reading of this book, which is less than 50,000 words, has a large number of color illustrations, like a Lord of the glory of the Lord reading the holy high supreme glorious revelation as devout. The sky was completely dark, and Trees finally finished reading this little book. His heart was full of excitement and shouted, "Cooey 11 Tracy." The little daughter of the landlord's family appeared silently in front of him like a cat. "Do you want to have dinner with Trees?" "No. I need to be quiet, calm. You help me stop my group of friends. I can't come today," Trees ordered. "Can you ask why?" On the weekdays, the very cute little girl of the landlord looked up at Trees with a look of expectation and a pair of big eyes sparkling. "I want to prepare for meditation, but I want to be a magic apprentice." Looking at Sui's big eyes and delicate face, Trees could not help but release his rhetoric. "Okay, Trees. I will stop them." Tracy nodded solemnly. "Treaser, you must succeed. I believe you will become a great magician." This night, Trees has been trying to calm himself down, but his heart has become impetuous and excited, and he has been unable to settle. Throughout the night, Trees was so excited that he did not fall asleep, but he did not enter the state of meditation. Finally, there is a line of white belly on the horizon, and the day is coming. At this moment of alternating day and night, Trees originally began to feel awkward and suddenly became clear. All the distracting thoughts were precipitated. According to the method recorded in the book, he entered the meditation state directly. Not long after, the wooden door of the room was pushed open with a small slit, and a pair of big eyes slid through the door to observe the state of Trees. A moment later, the little girl who just woke up was not satisfied, and she nodded. She climbed down the long stairs like a little swallow, sang a light song and started a busy day. To be continued. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 292. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. The North Paper Printing Factory, located in the lower part of Parly-on-the-Seine, is the largest paper mill invested by the Bonaparte Chamber of Commerce. It is still in the early morning of the day. It has been busy to the extreme, crowded, and everyone is working hard to print the latest books. The Ivy Chamber of Commerce has sold warnings. They sent people to buy another 8,000. The general manager of the Southern United Library has been waiting outside. He has to pick up 10,000. The family rumor member behind the Fortune Chamber of Commerce is coming. He wants to meet with the Baron. Baron Humphrey is sitting here at the moment. This is just a winter morning. He is already hot and sweaty. With the sale of How the Sorcerer Made It, after a month, Baron Humphrey decisively launched the second part of the magical popular series Meditation and Heart Lake. He had already opened the printing plant's production capacity early, and printed 50,000 copies. In addition to his own Chamber of Commerce, he reserved 20,000 copies. Others were wholesaled to the 5 major book chambers. I thought that these 50,000 books could support half a month. Who knows that this is only 3 days, and all of them have started to pick up the goods. It is necessary to know that this batch of books has been printed with the printing and printing machinery and technology presented by Ziwei. However, Ziwei's machinery is too delicate. Despite the design drawings, it is difficult to copy, resulting in insufficient productivity. Even if you keep turning around all day, you can only print up to 10,000 books a day. Now, the North Printing Factory has already pushed off the recent printing of some color pages and newspapers with new technology. All the machines print Meditation and Heart Lake at the same time. Tell them, there aren't that much. Every business association has a maximum of 1,500 copies a day. No more. Baron Humphrey waved his hand. Let the family members of the Chamber of Fortune come in. The Baron Humphrey behind the desk licked his forehead, which was a happy worry. After this battle, the Bonaparte Chamber of Commerce has firmly established itself in the entire French book publishing market, and even in the future it can become the sixth largest book business association. There are very prominent and noble backgrounds behind the 5 major library chambers in France, and no one can easily offend. The Fortune Chamber of Commerce is such a giant that has expanded its business to the entire continent of Orient. The Rothschild family, a family that flourished more than 100 years ago, started from a small chamber of commerce in Denmark, where members of the family can now easily enter the continents of either the Holy Norman or the French Kingdom. The court gatherings of the first class and one-powered countries have a prominent and noble status. The Chamber of Fortune even minted its own currency, established banks, and distributed the entire continent of Orient, and this high-quality gold coins were widely circulated throughout the mainland, and the royal chambers had to admit their noses. It's not that no one has ever played the ruthless idea of the Rothschild family of rich enemies. Even in history, there have been 7 large and small turmoil and wars against wealth chambers, but when the Rothschilds' enemies are when the family has disappeared, this family and wealth chamber of commerce still stands in the whole world. The mysterious Rothschild family began to surface gradually, and the blood flowing in their bodies is also the noble blood of the nobles. Although Baron Humphrey stood behind Princess Olivia and Count Bonaparte, he did not dare to lighten the members of the Rothschild family, although he did not understand why a noble family member would come in person. Find yourself in the printing house. A moment later, the member of the Rothschild family appeared in front of Baron Humphrey. He wore a golden coat, but the high elegance made this luxurious coat not look kitsch. Some of his face was pale without blood, but it was the favorite of the Wangdu ladies. Appearance. He is very delicate, and there is almost no hair on the delicate skin. The long black hair is like an ink. The black pupil shines like 2 gems. It is not like a mortal. However, many aristocrats with higher bloodlines are like this, and the Baron Humphrey has been eccentric. Respected Rothschild family members, I don't know what is the reason for you to come to this messy printing factory. It's okay to call me a card, Baron Humphrey. I want to ask you one thing, the author of Sylvester Frost, should you meet. The sound of the card is a bit cold, and his face has almost no expression. Nature has seen it. Otherwise, Mr. Frost can't authorize this book exclusively for the publication of the Bonaparte Chamber of Commerce, Baron Humphrey responded. What do you want to do? Digging the corner? Sorry, Ziwei is the lover of our Missy, even the princess and the Earl of the Princess have admitted, you cannot dig. I don't know the 3rd book that Mr. Sylvester Frost said in the preface of this book, teach you to become a magic apprentice in a month. Can the Baron have a sample in his hand? Asked the man named Kami. Yes, according to the plan, as long as the production capacity keeps up, the 3rd book will be released after half a month, so Humphrey has not concealed it. I am a loyal reader of Mr. Sylvester Frost. I wonder if I can get a sneak peek. Since it is a request from Rothschild, how can I refuse it? The sample book has been printed a little, I can send a few copies of the book. As long as the sun does not spread widely. The paper printing technology from Ziwei has gone beyond the skills of the entire French-related industry, so Baron Humphrey is not worried about someone coming to the fake. The members of the Rothschild family will not suppress the sale of the book and the organization of piracy in advance, so corrupted but the family reputation. With 3 new books, Teach You to Become a Magic Apprentice 1 month, came out of the North Printing Factory, stopping at the door to a luxury, to the extreme, with 4 white horses that are pure to a white horse. The golden carriage that drives in front. There is a gleaming gold coin on the carriage. This is the family emblem of the Rothschild family. The whole continent is unique. Master K, Do you have to come here personally? I am ready to come out. A middle-aged lady sitting in the carriage, dressed in a luxurious dress like a dress, smiled and said to Kay. She is the head of the Fortune Chamber of Commerce throughout the Kingdom of France. Don't call me a young master. Mrs. Adele, I am just an ominous person who has been driven out of the Golden Fort, Kami responded indifferently, and has begun to read the books in his hands. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 293. Backslash, backslash backslash, backslash backslash. You are the noble blood of the Rothschild family. How can it be an ominous person? This is only a temporary failure. Your sister Margaret won this competition and successfully entered the gold fort, but on the day when she really became the owner, there is still a chance, Mrs. Adele comforted. Book. The gap between me and Margaret is already great. She has been in the Holy Norman Empire for many years and has established a strong alliance of interests, Kamiao responded without saying, and my brother Eric and my sister Lendile is also staring at the golden seat of the Golden Fort. The Rothschild family has never had an incompetent family heir in the past 100 years, because the competition within the family is so cold and ruthless. From the age of 5, I have to learn to do business. The first income of K is a copper coin earned from shoes. Every business, every negotiation is a bloodless battle. All family members of the appropriate age are commensurate with their brothers and sisters and stand on the same starting line to start competing. Until the end, only one person was able to win the championship and become the next family leader. Others can only use the latter half of their life to continue their lives for the family, and desperately educate their next generation, expecting the next generation to have the opportunity to enter the Golden Fort. For the entire Rothschild family, this is undoubtedly a very benign competition. It is always possible to select the most suitable heirs, but for every family member who competes, this is not a good memory. Kamiao has already fallen into the trap of Margaret's competition, and Margaret is not far from being the 9th owner of the Rothschild family. He thought that he was already the most frivolous group of people in the whole of the Orient continent. I didn't expect to find a man who was more arrogant when he read the new book of How the Wizards Are Made. Actually, in a book that sells for only 5 silver coins, a best-selling book sold throughout the continent of Orient, widely spreads meditation and the way to build a heart lake. Kami is a ring magician. He can naturally see that the 7 meditations of this book are very simple and basic, but they also greatly simplify the difficulty of getting meditation, and make the original qualification worse. The batch can start learning magic. Let the flower of magic spread across the earth, let the light of magic shine in the sky. This is really an idiotic. Don't say a little high-level magician, even a magician can never do this. Only those passing magicians who have surpassed the limits of the common custom may have this power to guide the explosion of magic enlightenment. However, why is the heart so ups and downs, like a volcano erupting at any time? Why have you been so sad that you have been disturbed by this thin book, and quickly drove to the city of Pali to see if the last copy of this magical trilogy has been written? What? No matter this person named Sylvester Frost is ignorant, arrogant, or crazy, but he has undoubtedly made a heroic initiative, a mad-like behavior that will be layered for thousands of years. The camouflage of the magical beauty outside the mysterious veil is all open, and everyone's eyes can be left to watch. The third book, Teach You to Become a Magic Apprentice in a Month, is less than 100,000 words. The whole article only talks about 5 standard zero-ring spells. However, the choice is to have ubiquitous casting materials and no magic potions. The standard zero-loop spell that can be completed, really opened up and shattered, so that ordinary people can learn. In this way, as long as you can afford these 3 magical popular reading materials, you have the qualification to become a magician. You can meditate to build a heart lake, learn zero-ring magic, become a true magic apprentice. But even those who are originally poorly qualified can become a true magician even if they become magic apprentices. Moreover, the large amount of precious pharmacy and wealth required for the wizard's promotion ceremony is inseparable. What is the use of a lot of magic apprentices in the world? Is it impossible for this Sci-fi to continue to publish the knowledge of the magician level? With countless doubts, Kamiao turned the book to the last page. Violet Magic Academy Admissions Guide. The Violet School of Magic is a comprehensive full-time college dedicated to cultivating new eras of magicians and magical industry workers. The Violet Magic Academy is located in the Violet Island of the Western Golden Sea. It is beautiful in all seasons and welcomes everyone to come and study. Our school has a strong faculty. There are 3 high-level magicians with 3 mentor and more than 10 other mentor. We have trained a large number of magicians and magic apprentices. The educational results are very gratifying. Which magic is strong? Gold Sea is looking for a famous school. As long as you can become a magic apprentice reader within 1 month after reading the book, our school is exempt from 2-year tuition fees, and reimbursement of the toll after enrollment. Others can register as a magic apprentice. The basic tuition fee is 100 gold coins per year. If you are in a difficult situation, you can also sign a talent training plan to delay the payment of tuition fees. Our school offers generous scholarships and a large number of work-study opportunities to relieve your worries. Violet Academy President Sylvester Frost. February 1778. The following is accompanied by a simple map indicating the location of Violet Island, as well as vessels, routes and times for boarding a ship to Violand in the southern ports of Marseille and Toulon. Obviously, this Sylvester Frost is ready, and he intends to recruit these magical apprentices who have been enlightened by himself. Although this book is simple enough, it can master 0 loop spells in a month with 0 base, and a magic apprentice has a fairly good qualification. In the future, as long as there are sufficient resources in this qualification, promotion to the official magician is not a problem. But why is he still recruiting people who are less than a month old to become a magic apprentice? The annual tuition fee of 100 gold coins seems to be sky high, but it is not the consumption of a large number of magical experiments by magic apprentices, let alone the value of valuable magic knowledge. Every magician's time is so precious. He can point out that a few young people with great talents are already busy sneaking, and they will focus on this kind of person with no future. So what does the Sylvester Frost want to do? Kamiao suddenly gave birth to a strong interest. He was going to see Violet Island, see the arrogant and fearless Sylvester Frost. He has a strong sense of foreboding, which will be a meeting to change his own destiny. To be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 294. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. When Trees was awake from the meditation, he found that the sky was already bright, and the little daughter of the landlord's family, Sui, was sitting in front of him, curiously looking at himself with big eyes. "Trizer, are you a magic apprentice now?" Tracy asked innocently. "Which is so fast," Trees looked smug, "but I have been able to enter the state of meditation, and I have used the first of the 7 methods. It seems that I am very talented in the magician." "Great. Trees, look at your house in the past 3 years. I have cleaned up your clothes are also my wash. Can you help me?" Kui 11 asked with courage. "What are you doing for me? Look at my good mood, as long as it is not too much, you can. I also want to learn meditation. I want to be a magic apprentice." Girl Sui West shines. "I want to be as strong as Princess Nicole, and I will enter the Magic Academy in the future and meet my own far. Well, I finally know where my how the sorcerer made it is gone. It was taken away by you, and it will be returned to me," Tree suddenly realized. "I don't want, Tree's brother, I haven't finished reading yet, I don't know how the final story is going," Tracy began to spoil. "Don't read it? That's great, I tell you, finally Far and Nicole killed the magical holy land of the Thousand Laws Tower, and Jessica this bad woman battle for 300 rounds. Trees looked bad said with a smile. I don't listen, I don't listen. The girl Sui 11 hurried down the floor with her ears, and the old stairs made a loud noise. It's really a mess, and a landlord's daughter wants to be a magic apprentice. Fraser, who hadn't slept overnight, lay down on the bed, his mouth bursting with a smile, but such a day is not bad, isn't it? The book Meditation and Heart Lake is sold in the major bookstores of the French Kingdom. It is tantamount to putting a deep water bomb into a calm lake. To know how the magician is made is just a novel, even if the story is new and exciting, you can borrow it after others have finished reading it. In the end, the original high-quality book papers were worn to a bad degree. Some people even ran through all the bookstores in Wangdupali, and watched a page or two before the clerk started to rush. After all this perseverance, I finally finished reading the whole book for free. Therefore, although How the Sorcerer Made It sold more than 110,000 copies in 2 months, the readers of this book have exceeded 500,000. In the long-awaited, the second written world of Sylvester Frost, this book actually tells the story of the meditation. Just 5 silver coins. People who like to read books are not fools. Who doesn't know the great value in this book? 1 of the 10 people can become a magic apprentice. In case I am the lucky one, will it be developed in the future? So many people at the first sight of this book have determined their determination to buy it. 7 days after the first week of the first week, the new book writer Sylvester Frost's new book, Meditation and Heart Lake, sold 100,000 copies and created a new record of astronomical numbers. This is still the lack of capacity of the North Printing Factory, which can only provide 1,500 books and magazines each day. The Bauhinia bookstore, the bookstore belonging to the Bonaparte Chamber of Commerce, was originally very famous. Now it is very popular because it can buy Meditation and Heart Lake, which has been sold out in other bookstores. Every day, there is a long queue outside the bookstore, waiting for the new book to be bought at the moment of opening the door. Countless citizens have become crazy, noble children, businessmen, shop assistants, workers, flower girls, newsboys, waiters. All those who have hope for the future and hope to change their destiny are snapping up this Meditation and Heart Lake that has the opportunity to gain strength. This trend quickly spread from Wangdupali, spread to Orleans, Lyon, spread to Bordeaux, Marseille, spread to Nantes, Toulon. Just half a month after the Meditation and Heart Lake was put on, I finally expanded my production capacity. The Baron Humphrey, who was able to print 30,000 new books a day, did not hesitate to hit the iron and launched the third and final of the magical popular reading. 1 book, teach you to become a magic apprentice 1 month. Half a month is enough for the most talented group to complete the meditation. Trees experimented with 7 methods of meditation, and finally found that the first one is best for him. He has completed the meditation and built a heart lake of his own. He can feel the faint magic of starting to flow in his new heart lake. At this time, the sales frenzy of Meditation and Heart Lake has slowly weakened, because many people who have never been able to get started have begun to sell the books they bought back to others. For these people, this half-month carnival is just a dream. Now, the dream is broken. However, for those who have completed meditation like trees, can the inner wild way be described in words? A golden boulevard leading to the dream palace is in front of them, and the dream palace is at your fingertips. In this case, teach you to become a magic apprentice 1 month is on the shelves. What a simple and intuitive title, what an exciting title. In a month, you can turn from an ordinary person into a noble magic apprentice. In the future, will you still have the chance to become a magician master? Be aware that a magician master can enjoy the status of a jazz equivalent after registering with the Royal Society of Magicians of France. This is the biggest opportunity to change the fate of yourself and even the whole family. This time, The well-prepared Baron Humphrey waved a hand. The first batch directly printed 100,000 copies, and the abundant supply made each bookstore no longer nervous. Since most of the people who are completely talentless have been screened out in the meditation session, there are not so many readers who appear in the bookstore this time. However, these readers are the highest quality readers ever seen in every bookstore. They have long queues without complaints, they are very profitable, they don't bargain, they pay the money in one hand, and they pay the book in a quarter of an hour. Can sell hundreds of books. Trees is a member of the cold long queue in the winter cold wind, and he is in a queue of people. There are men, women, children in their early tens, and old people who are 50 years old. There are well-dressed merchants, and there are also poor and poor people. 5 silver coins can buy more than 100 breads, and the family can eat the simplest meal of the week. It is not enough for the nobility to appreciate the tips, but it is the hope of everyone. In the long queue of 100 people, the cold wind can't blow the smile on the faces of people. This is a smile on the happiness of the future. To be continued. Mobile users please browse and read, a better reading experience. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Du. Chapter 295. Remember for 1 second, to provide you with wonderful novel reading. The Royal Academy of Magic in France is the largest and most powerful school of magic in the entire Kingdom of France, and has trained countless powerful magicians throughout the kingdom. Even if it is placed across the continent of Orient, it is second only to the Tower of Magical Holy Land. This college is the highest school in the entire French kingdom that is interested in embarking on the path of magicians, becoming a mysterious and powerful magician, in order to enter the highest school, and even attracts other countries from the mainland of Europe. A large number of international students. The Royal Academy of Magic in France can have such a noble and sacred status today, and nature has an inseparable close relationship with his founder, the Dean of the Royal Academy of Magic. Because the Dean is the 5 laws and the Lord of Change legendary magician, Lord Hugo in the whole of the Orient continent. The Change School is from him, created by Victor Hugo. The Change School is not a simple transformational spell, although the transformational spell constitutes the most important part of the Change School. Among the Zero Ring spells, there is a spell of Change School, that is the Hand of the Wizard. Victor Hugo is an old man with white hair and a beard, but he has a height of more than 1 meter and is very strong and looks like a madman rather than a magician. At the moment he just walked out of his magic lab and sent it to the spacious and luxurious principal's room. Hugo President, this is the document that you need to process the approval in the last week. His assistant secretary, a middle-aged man, placed a thick stack of documents on his desk. Victor Hugo just glanced at it. All the files were windless, the magic pen was written quickly, and all the files were reviewed after a breath of time. Hey! One of the documents floated in front of Victor Hugo. Magic Popular Reading, where are these 3 books? The assistant secretary quickly sent the 3 books written by Ziwei. These 3 books can only be read at a glance for a legendary mage, because the time of the legendary mage is so precious. Xavi Frost? Why is this name not impressed? Is he a member of the Royal French Wizards Association? Victor Hugo, who served as the Dean of the Royal Academy of Magic, also served as the Royal Sorcerer. President of the Association. I have found a magician named Sylvester Frost. A year ago he registered at the Ayacho Magician Guild in Corsica. He is a ring magician. Some assistant secretaries. Oh, the answer is a ring magician? Impossible. In the basic education of magic, he even has more research than me. In the next 2 books, he greatly simplified the threshold of becoming a magician, so that a large number of originals were those who are limited to various reasons and cannot learn magic have the opportunity to embark on the magical path. The 5th Victor Hugo shook his head gently. However, the magician's road does not require a lot of mediocrity. What is needed is real genius. Then we will wait and see what happens, the assistant secretary asked carefully. No. I am very interested in this Sylvester Frost. Give him a notice through the Wizards Guild, and say it is from my invitation. I want to see this younger generation, I think he will be a fun people, said Victor Hugo. To know that as a legendary magician, the leader of the tens of thousands of magicians in France, Victor Hugo's time is really precious to the extreme. In this case, he was actually willing to take the time to meet the Westward Frost, who claimed to be a high-level magician. Obviously, he had a very high appreciation. Assistant Secretary Ben Shaman is a very clever person. He is not smart enough to beat countless competitors and win this position that he can meet with a legendary magician almost every day. He is also a 6-ring high-level magician, and the final step is to get the master's certificate. Ben Shaman secretly recorded the name of Sylvester Frost. There are countless geniuses in the Royal Academy of Magic, but how many people can enjoy the appreciation of the fifth law? And Sci-fi Frost, but with 3 books. Versailles, the royal palace of King Charles VIII of France. In this magnificent hall, the French King Charles VIII was lying in bed eating magical anti-season fresh fruits, listening to a recent Abe told me that the recent happening in the King interesting things in Du Paris. Single week sells 100,000 copies, let ordinary people learn magic too. Charles VIII finally raised his interest. Sci-fi Frost, since there is a surname, it must be a nobleman. Go to the genealogy coat of arms to check a check, is it my French? The early organic servant sent 3 best-selling books by Sylvester Frost, and Charles VIII eagerly read it. The magician is a powerful force, and Sylvester Frost is undoubtedly from the vast desert. France has selected tens of thousands of gravels that are expected to become magicians. This is a great deal. Sci-fi Frost, pioneering the Cavaliers, is located on the island of Caprea on the Golden Sea, recommended by the Count of Bonaparte. The news from the genealogy coat of arms soon arrived. Haha, it is actually the young man recommended by Carlo. Right, Humphrey is now in Pili? Proclaiming him into the palace. I haven't got any news about Olivia for a long time. So the bustle of Master Humphrey, who had been busy until the end, did not have time to change into a formal dress, and was taken to the front of the king by the guards from the Palace of Versailles. Humphrey Ching, it has been almost 20 years since Olivia left Parly to marry Corsica. I didn't expect you to look like this. Nothing changed. Charlie ate. The world sat in a soft chair with precious stones inlaid with precious stones and asked with a feeling of emotion. I didn't expect the King's Majesty to remember to live in the next. It is a great honor. Although Humphrey was an old man at the Palace of Versailles, he had not seen Charles VIII for more than a decade. How is Olivia doing now? Is it good in Corsica? Very good. Count Bonaparte and Princess Olivia have deep feelings, never had a quarrel in 20 years. And both Miss Natalia and Miss Merrill are very youthful and lovely. Natalia Missy is only 18 years old and she is already a 6th Order Blood Knight. Baron Humphrey's face was excited. The 18-year-old 6th Order Blood Knight? It's really amazing. It seems that the niece is really good. Charles VIII smiled and asked, who is Sci-fi Frost? I remember Carlo's hand. There are only 3 proofs of pioneering the Cavaliers. Why did you give this person?